Hello, everyone. David Frizesh from Fitness Beast Athletics. I'm currently sitting here with Anne Vincent, a previous boss of mine and an avid fitness goer and one of the most successful women I've ever met. And we're talking about how fitness has helped her life, helped her in the corporate sphere as well, and just how she incorporates it into her life on a daily basis. So yeah, and I'll leave it to you. You can introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi. Hi, David. It's so nice to see you, although I know it's virtual, but it's always nice to chat with you. Yeah, so I'm currently the marketing director for a company called Evlo. We're in the field of energy storage. It's a B2B company, fast growing, active in the US and in Canada mostly, it's a little bit in Europe as well. So a lot of challenge and a lot of fun.
Oh, awesome, awesome, perfect. So, without further delay, I know being in a C-level position is extremely demanding, right? Like, there's a lot of things you got to cover, both from your own people that you're managing and your higher ups and your like everything involved with it, right? So, when it comes to the stressors and the kind of the demanding nature of your job, how has and I'm only looking here because this is where my list of questions are. How did fitness like has fitness always been a priority for you, or did it become more of a priority as you got into the more, I guess, corporate world? Like how did that function with you?
Well, I think it changed like my goal, not the goals, but motivations, I guess, have changed over time. I really started to be a bit more disciplined about working out when I was a student in university. I don't know, we had access to a gym. It was like I kind of became at that point like a person who would go regularly to the gym and work out with specific goals. But back in the days, I don't know, it was a little different. Was obviously really young and I was more focused on body image but anyway, so that was but that turned in later years when I've always worked in marketing, so I've always worked in an office environment with a corporate mindset a little bit, and the stress that comes with it, but also the very sedentary nature of the work, which is like being seated in front of my computer on the phone and on Teams, or so I felt the need to move somehow, right? I was
Okay.
so static. So that then became kind of part of my life, that I felt like the need to move every day just to get the energy. And but as I grow older a little bit, and we have people around me who've gotten sick, or cancer, Alzheimer, and other diseases, that kind of like, okay, well, I mean, if I want to have a healthy life, and I'm still having this very sedentary job, right?
Yeah.
With a lot of stress and high cortisol environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Need to do something, and this is kind of, I call sport in general like my therapy, right? So
Okay.
it really is in my motivation is to be a healthy elderly someday.
For sure, for sure. Well, I mean, you got a ways to go before you're elderly, so keep going from
Well,
that perspective,
it's
right?
yeah, time flies,
Uh,
unfortunately.
and specifically when it comes to the training you do, right? Because you said like you're very active. I saw you recently, given the winter storm we just had, uh, cross countrying through through Montreal, which I need to ask you about. But
Yes.
um, have you noticed like direct impacts that you gained or that you've learned from having trained in that you've seen kind of reflected in your day to day like corporate lifestyle? Like, have you had gotten any kind of wait? So, like, because you train, because you're able to deal with stress X, Y, and Z,
Mhm.
has it had any direct impacts on your corporate life?
Oh, certainly. I think I guess life in general, but because we spend so much time at work, that it
Yeah.
definitely has an impact on that, on my role as a also as head of a department as well. So reducing stress in general for me allows me to think a lot more clearly, I think. So it has definitely an impact there. Keeping things into perspective probably a bit better.
Okay.
Not to worry about, you know, small stuff. And I would say, because I like I like being active in general. I really like strength workouts. I like to, lift weights and stuff, and that
Awesome.
taught me to also understand that I'm a lot stronger than I think. And it really
Yeah.
plays a little, a trick, a brain trick to think that, you can always do a bit more or a bit better, and you can
Yeah.
handle a bit more. So, yeah, I guess maybe yeah, these are some examples, I think.
Oh, for sure. Because like I remember like when we used to work at the office downtown, like you're not the biggest woman I've ever met, but you're like the fact that I've seen the stuff you do, like the hikes you go on, and just like knowing that you train, like that's like you're like a bunch of you're like a bunch of muscle in this really tiny package, which is awesome, you know? No, but that's great for
It
you, and it's
varies with a bit of a a bit of cover.
for sure, for sure. But it's you were talking about wanting to eventually age in a healthy manner, right? But having that kind of groundwork for who you are is an amazing way to do that. And it'll stave off tons of other diseases. Like there's actually there was a study released by the MS Society. This was done, I think it was in the late 90s, and it's one of the things that kind of got me really interested down this path that I'm kind of doing now. Was they did a study on women, and they found that there was a 30% increased chance of developing multiple sclerosis in if you enter your adult years, so like your young adult years, so let's talk about like 18, 19, 20 year old, as being obese. There's a 30% uptake in being able to get multiple sclerosis, which kind of works with me because I got multiple, yes, I'm not a woman, but I got multiple sclerosis in my early 20s going into that, and I was obese. I was in the 300 pounds, right? So when I saw that study, I was like, okay, there's something here, like that there clearly there's something that happened. So seeing you being able to do these things and with that goal of wanting to continue into your later years being healthy and as disease free as possible is such a huge endeavor to take. And it's, well, not a huge endeavor, it's huge compared to how society is making us live, but also it's a great thing to do for your own self.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a and frankly, I even though I would typically work out or do something active every day, I'm still not considered that active either, because I spend so much time, working, in front of a computer,
Okay.
so to me, really, it's just a matter of bare minimum.
Okay.
Diet.
S-
Yeah, yeah.
okay, so then along that lines, then if you consider this bare minimum, how much what would you consider working out as much as you would want to work out then?
If I didn't have like a 9 to 5 job,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, I think it's just breaking out, I guess, the day a bit more, like because and I say 9 to 5, but the reality is it's probably 7:30 to 7:30, to be honest, right? So
Yeah.
so I typically work out in the morning, or I try to too, because I know that later in the day it's getting harder to fit in the schedule. But so morning, but if I didn't have this like very, I would say, strict schedule, it would be like probably like at lunchtime I would also go on for a walk, a little run, or do something a little more active, which I don't take the time to do, right? So I would probably
Okay.
break things out a bit more, like maybe in blocks, as opposed to like, okay, workout, then sitting down, and then preparing night meal and evening meal and stuff like that. But yeah.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, because I mean, with your health, it's more than just working out. It's also what you eat as well, like to make
Of
sure that you're
course.
eating healthy and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay, so again, I want to streamline this so not to waste any of your time. But so we're gonna be going into like I guess the tangible benefits of fitness from a
Mm.
professional perspective, right? So I know many executives in general kind of struggle with energy management, right?
Mm.
So how or would you say that training has helped you stay sharp and productive as a C-level employee in marketing? Like how has it actually impacted your focus effectively and your ability to work at that really high level that you're at,
Um,
besides being stronger than people?
well, and you're right. The stamina or the energy level that is kind of it's kind of this virtuous circle that it creates. Being active, eating well, but also sleeping well. I mean, the sleep
Yeah.
is the area where I could do better because I don't sleep a lot, but I don't sleep well. I mean, definitely not 8 hours a night. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't work. But so having this healthy lifestyle as much as possible plays an incredible role into having the energy to sustain. Again, I'm not a construction worker, so I don't work with my body all day, but the stress and the number of I would say different files or different topics that I have to, have meetings, sorry, days sometimes where I have like 15 different meetings in a day, which, it means that you have to switch so it's a lot of brain power. It's a lot of energy. I know I'm putting out, right? And if I didn't have this morning session usually where I work out and I wake up my body and brain, it wouldn't be the same. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I'm about to say something that might, if I need to go apply to the job elsewhere, might kill my chances. But when I don't, when I do have those meetings that are really long and exhaustive, and I haven't worked out, I'll be looking there, and my eyes will be
Blanking
open.
out.
But
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure like I have a clown here just going do 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 do. Well, I look like I'm paying attention. But no, you're
Yeah. Yeah.
right. Working out kind of focuses me so
Yeah.
much to do that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so. Okay, that's a great segue into the next question then. When it comes to, you know, the benefits that working out helps you, like staying awake and stuff like that, do you find that it actually gives you more of an ability for mental resilience, for stress management? Like when you work out, does it help you um, not just vent, but also be quicker at making decisions because you're clearer? Like how does it affect it from that perspective?
Well, to me again, and I repeat that, to anyone, whenever I meet someone who says, "Oh, I should work out. I should do something," I'm like, this is very cheap therapy, honestly. And this is, to me, like sport in general. That's my therapy. This is where, for that period of time where I don't know, you're cross country skiing, you're running, your mind is very focused on what you're doing for that period of time, which really, to me, it's a little similar, I guess, to meditation or other techniques to focus your brain and remove some of that stress that you accumulate throughout the day and or weeks and years. But yeah, so I don't know if that answers your question, but it's if I didn't have that, I know I would spitball more. I would go to bed, still, maybe probably thinking still about, work, but having no, it really gives me the ability to, I guess, I don't know, stop the little wheel, the
Yeah.
wheels from turning too
Yeah.
much or for nothing, not in a productive way, right? So I've seen it because, of course, and I haven't been perfect all my life, right? So there has been periods of time where sometimes like, okay, I have too much to do. I'm gonna cancel my workout session, but I see the impact right away. I see it on
Okay.
right away. I'm like, okay, well, I don't feel good physically. Meaning I don't feel good mentally either. So yeah, it's immediate.
Okay, so you like the clarity you get carries
Mm.
forth into your professional life too then.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree 100% on that. And this one is actually a really important question because it's one of the biggest I guess boundaries that I hear a lot of people talking about when it comes to working out. Like I don't have time, or I like it's one of the biggest things, right? Um, how do you balance like intense training with your professional schedule, especially being at the sea level that you are, especially dealing with, stakeholders above you, you have your team below you, you have, responsibilities that you're like literally managing on your own as well. Like how would you yeah, how do you balance between that taking up so much of your time? Because, regardless of whether we like mental stresses do take up a lot of your time, even if you're not actually doing anything with
Right.
them.
Mhm.
So, how do you balance being able to stay physically active with your day-to-day stressors? And is one necessary for the other? And would you be able to deal with all the stressors if you didn't have the prior? So like, what's your kind of routine for that?
Well, and I probably have more time in my schedule than other executives that have kids also, because I don't have kids, right? So, I mean, I'm taking care of myself, and here my boyfriend. I also, I'm taking care of my mom as well. But I mean, so I don't have kids, so this is an area that I don't have to spend time on this aspect of my life. So it leaves a bit more time, I guess, than other other folks to really prioritize that time. I mean, it's a non-negotiable. Even
Okay.
if I travel for work, I will always have my running shoes and clothes to go either to the hotel gym, or even play a little YouTube video on my computer, and just work out in my room, whatever. It is
Okay.
like it could be only 20 minutes.
Okay.
And if
Yeah.
you don't have time, it's just 20 minutes. But it's an absolute priority. Yeah.
Okay.
There's
And
no other way, I think.
oh, for sure, for sure. And like this, that kind of brings up something else. Because I know for me, when I don't go to the gym, I feel like crap all day long. Like it's not like I feel necessarily like I'm suddenly sick or something like that, but it's just like the energy is not there. Like
Yeah.
it's
You're
funny.
like
People
blah. Blah.
exactly. It's blah. You're just
Yeah.
like it's like you wake up and you're just there. You're just existing without actually. You don't feel good. You generally feel worse, and it's just kind of like
I'm sure it never
blah.
happened to you, David, to actually like kick yourself and say, "Okay, I'm gonna go. This morning I don't want to go, but I'll go." You never regret it. Have you ever
No,
regretted it? No, you
I
never.
regret it. Never. Have I ever been in the position where I have to kick myself to go to the gym? A hundred
Of course.
percent. But
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
exactly. But at the end of the day, you're 100% right. It's kind of like I'm less tired than I would have been had I not exhausted myself in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so
Yeah,
counterintuitive, but it's totally
yeah,
true. Yeah.
for sure. And like, given the fact that you take the time to do this, and that like from our conversation that like, do you think that your performance on a corporate level would suffer if you did stop going to the gym?
Certainly, because I wouldn't feel as good, mentally and also physically, in terms of the energy level that we were talking about earlier. Um, yeah, I mean, psychologically, it's such it has such a positive impact. I would, I'm sure I would have less stamina. I would be less energetic, and there's a lot of I mean, I'm probably naturally a little bit of a action oriented person. Like I like I like taking stuff off my checklist. I like to
Yeah,
actually get into the concrete operations, and making sure that projects progress, and that makes me that's who I am. But if I didn't have that, I guess that energy level that comes with being active, um, yeah, I would probably be a bit more grueling, or I would have
yeah,
less, positivity, I guess, towards.
yeah. Okay. And then, given the fact that you do like strength training also,
Mhm.
do you find that like the increases that you get at the gym, so when you get stronger, when you're more fit, when you're more endurance, all this kind of stuff, do you think those, I guess, for lack of a better term, those physical gains
Hmm.
have helped you be able to have any of those gains been able to carry forth directly into your corporate life? Like I know for me, for example, when I was lifting weights and getting stronger and stuff like that, well, when I am lifting weights, it every time I hit a new peak, every time I get stronger, every time I feel not just re-energized, but I find that I can handle more at work. I find that I'm strong enough to, like, if I'm strong enough to deadlift 300 pounds, I can deal with a little bit of stress at work type thing, you know? Do you kind of see it the same way? Does it affect you the same way? How does that work with you?
I think it affects confidence, it really does. And it's really funny because I really got into lifting a little more heavy when I joined a gym that unfortunately no longer exists. It was in Saint Henri back in the days. It was a really small place, and we were really really close to coaches, and it was a very close knit community. And this is where I really learned how to strength train efficiently and have gains, right?
Hmm.
And I realized, and the coaches out there were like, at first, we're talking about, being self confident, and especially in women, women, and because I work in a very masculine environment, and they were saying those words. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. But after a couple of months, and then that turned into years, I was like, gosh, they were right. I mean, when you realize that, in your mind, you're like, oh, 20 pounds, I can't lift that. And then in the end, it's like, oh gosh, a few weeks later, I can, lift 40, right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
this whole, it really really plays on how confident you are, and you're self-confident, and that translates into your work environment. That's for sure, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, that actually brings up a question I didn't have written, but it actually makes me think of something. The confidence and everything you gained from acquiring those new goals, hitting those new targets and stuff like that. And I know in the corporate environment, it can be a very, well, not just masculine dominated area, but also a lot of people trying to throw their weight around, trying to kind of get their way, right? Have you found that fitness has helped you be able to stand your ground more, to say, no, you're wrong. It's because of this, based on my expertise and all this kind of stuff. Have you found yourself more in a place of being able to say, no, I'm right?
A bit more assertive.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it all, it's all tied together, right? How much, well, I mean, yes, of course, there's, that self-confidence aspect that you build in the gym that translates into your work environment. Of course, as you gain more experience in general in life, right? You kind of
Yeah.
realize, like, you know what? I know my stuff. There's
Yeah.
a bit of that too, of course. It's not all physical activity related, but it definitely plays in that for sure. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's awesome. Um, Next, if you could have, given your experience with fitness, given your experience climbing the corporate ladder, everything like that, if you could give one piece of advice to other professionals out there using fitness to enhance their careers, what would it be?
Make it a priority, an absolute priority, because it's for you, right? I mean, it's your you time that you crave so much, probably, right? Sometimes, like, you give a lot in your life,
Yeah.
right? You give your time to your employer, you give your time to your family, your friends, and anybody who asks for help. You're giving a lot, but you're neglecting yourself, right? So keeping that minimum, I would say, 30 minutes every day, to be active in some way, shape, or form. Is it yoga? Is it running? Is it, whatever you like, you enjoy doing? Do it for you. This is just, I
Okay.
mean, and if it's not, if you don't at least give that to you, you don't really love yourself. I think
Yeah.
it's a way to just, like, it's a gift for yourself. And
For sure. Now, something you said earlier about how sleep becomes an
I
issue,
know.
right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But given the fact that, given your position, given the fact that you're high up in the corporate world, all this kind of stuff, the fact that sleep can sometimes be an issue for everyone, regardless. But in your case specifically, when you work out, does that mean that when you do get to sleep, even if it's for a lot less, you sleep deeper, you sleep
Oh
better?
gosh, yeah, I sleep
Okay.
really well. I mean, I put my
Okay.
head on the pillow, I fall asleep. I have no problem sleeping. It's just going to bed. Like
Yeah. Okay.
I would naturally be probably like a little night owl a little bit. Like
Okay.
I don't enjoy going to bed early, but I wake up really early to go to the gym. So it's like,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
but luckily when I sleep really well. And again, it's certainly maybe not 100% due to exercise in general, but it sure plays a role.
Okay. For sure. That's awesome. Um, Lastly, I know you said you don't like posting on social media all that much. Like you do post occasionally and stuff like that, right? Um, and I don't know if you're very into the whole social sphere of wanting to share the fact that you're a globetrotter and the fact that both you and your significant other are both very fit. I've seen pictures of him and well done. Wow. Is there, do you want to say anything to the people who might be listening to say where they could follow your story or anything like that, or more private and just kind of,
Sure. I mean, yeah, I use, I mean, I like Instagram a lot.
okay?
I think it's a place where you get a bit more of an inspirational type of content, I feel.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, we can share, my handle if you want.
For sure. Yeah, I'll definitely put it into the video for sure. And I guess lastly, for the last piece of advice for other women and men in your situation, in your position, right? What would be the one thing you would tell them that in order to not just make their career a success, but also to get them the motivation to go, what is the one piece of advice you can give them to succeed?
Hmm. Well, throughout all this, I think, whether it's, choosing the right, physical activity or choosing the right job or choosing the right partner as well. If you want to be in a relationship, to me, it's all about fun.
Yeah.
So you really, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm getting older and wiser, but life is relatively short,
Yeah.
and you gotta have fun. You gotta have fun.
Okay.
So even though sometimes work can be stressful, you have objectives and deadlines, etc. If you're able to smile and laugh with your colleagues, your teammates, your boss, if you're able to have like a positive spin to anything that you do, honestly, everything is so much easier.
Awesome. All right, folks, you heard it from the professional herself. Train, do your thing, but find time for yourself. Keep yourself motivated and yeah, hit the gym, go running, lift weights, find something that works for you and just as long as you enjoy it, it's never going to be work. So thank you so much, Anne, and we'll keep in touch. And I want to see more pictures. And yeah, next time you go on a big hike, I want to know about it because I want to know where you're going and everything.
Perfect.
All
Will
right.
do. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.